Okay, so good day. No, today we're going to discuss about the e-governance and local government units. In today's digital era, no, e-governance is not just a trend; it's a necessity. No, because our local government units are now at the forefront of this transformation. Because I believe, no, using technology to serve citizens better, promote transparency, and increase efficiency. And this topic no explore how LGUs are adapting to and leveraging electronic governance or e-governance to improve their services and empower their communities. And to give us more details about the topic, let us all welcome our presenter this afternoon. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, good evening po. Visible po ba?
Yes po.
Okay po. So, good evening everyone. My name is Maria Luvel S. Dosado and I'll be presenting the e-governance and local government units. So, for the learning intended outcomes, we'll be able to understand the role of e-governance in improving local government operations and services and equip us with skills to design and implement digital initiatives at the local level to enhance service delivery and citizen engagement. So for the key topics, we will be discussing the following. Number one, understanding e-governance and local government, the role of e-governance in local government, ICT infrastructure for e-governance at the local level, enhancing service delivery through e-governance, digital transformation of local governance, citizen engagement and participation in local governance, data-driven decision-making in local government, capacity building for e-governance at the local level, challenges and solutions for e-governance implementation at the local level, best practices in e-governance at the local level, then the interoperability and collaboration among LGUs. So to start, let's define things first. So what is local government? Local governance is a system of community self-governance where elected authorities manage local undertakings in the community's best interest. So basically, it's how our LGU works, our mayor, council, barangay captains, on how they do handle the stuff that affects our day-to-day, of course, for a whole city or town. With the e-governance, it is a transformative approach that incorporates information and communication technology into governance processes. So it's by using tech tools such as websites, SMS alerts, mobile apps, or even just emails to make government services quicker, easier, and more transparent. So it's just like adding E to the governance, which is the electronic to make life easier. So together, LGUs and e-governance create more responsive, inclusive, and contemporary local governance system. So let's take a closer look on the types of e-governance. We have the G2C, the government to citizen, the G2G or the government to government, the G2B, government to business, and the G2E, which is the government to employee. So in the government to citizens, sample nito yung sa mga PSA, live birth, marriage certificate, or death certificate. Share ko lang before, nung namatay si father ko, February 2022, he's a retired military man. So we need to process the papers, pertinent papers para sa processing nung pension nung na malilipat kay mother ko. During that time, nagkataon na pandemic na siya. By March ata, nag-ano na tayo ng lockdown. So napaka-hassle. Imagine 4 a.m., alis kami ng bahay para lang makapila. Then eventually, meron pala silang ayun nga online na pwede ka nang mag-process ng mga papers. So, ayun, kailangan mo na lang sa phone or sa gadgets, then antay mo na lang sa bahay yung mga documents na need mo. I-deliver nila sa doorstep nyo. Then for the government to government, I'm working kasi sa sa Iloilo Provincial Hospital. Then there were times na we need to refer patients to a higher level hospital. So in our case, bali nire-refer namin mga patients namin sa Level 3 Hospital, which is the Western Visayas Medical Center. Before sa mga mano-manong pagproseso ng forward ng patients, kailangan pa namin i-ready yung mga documents, as in lahat manual talaga. Then meron silang dinevelop na IPASA or the Electronic Patient Advanced Service Access. Bale siya, isa siyang comprehensive referral system na para siyang Grab, wherein pwede mo nang i-track kung nasa na si ambulance, nasa na si patients, kung may vacancy pa. So that way, talagang naging siya, time saving and effort saving for us. Then we have the government to business. This is a game changer for entrepreneurs since no more and companies since no more running around different offices na just to get permits or pay taxes. It's all about cutting red tape and boosting business productivity with just a few clicks. For example po, sa Boracay mag-open ka ng business. So yung pag-process mo ng mga required documents, pwede na siyang gawin through the website of Aklan Provincial Government. So there's no need na for us to fly back and forth just for the paperworks. Since everything's centralized na, faster approval, meaning less stress na po siya. Then the last one, we have the G2E or the government to employee. Pinaka-sample nito for me is the GSIS Touch na kung saan pwede nating makita or ma-monitor yung ating service records, yung mga loans natin, yung mga benefits. Then sa case din namin sa Iloilo Provincial Government, pag may mga vacancies po, no need na sa amin na pumunta sa may HR sa Capitol. Pwede na namin siya i-submit through the system na HARIS or the HRIS. So pag nasabit mo na yung documents mo, magantay na lang para tawagan for the scheduled exams and interviews. So instead of falling in line, sometimes under the heat pa, imagine na pwede na natin gawin yung transactions through our phone or gadgets. And this is what we call the e-governance. Okay, so let's proceed on how we can make this e-governance to be more effective and meaningful. So dito papasok si smart governance. And yes, literally smart siya kasi it spells as SMART, which stands for simple, moral, accountable, responsive, and transparent. For the simple, nobody wants to deal with complicated systems, so the goal is less paperwork and more productivity. For the moral, technology is powerful but it needs a strong moral compass, so ethics really do matter talaga. For the accountable, if something goes wrong, there should be a clear trail so wala nang turuan, walang sisihan. For the responsive, people shouldn't wait for weeks. Hello? So, dito sa responsive, hindi na natin kailangang mag-antay ng ilang weeks para lang sa responses. With smart systems, it's all about real-time feedbacking and fast service. Then for the last letter, which is the letter T, or the transparent, when data is open and accessible, yung trust naturally nagpa-follows na lang siya. So whether you're a citizen, a business owner, or a government employee, e-governance guided by smart principles is here to make things better, faster, and fairer. And that's something we can all benefit from. So let's proceed with the ICT and political leadership. ICT, or the Information and Communications Technology, strengthens governance through enhanced transparency, accountability, and citizen engagement. Government agencies use digital platforms to communicate initiatives, gather public feedback, and improve service delivery. ICT also reinforces democratic governance and public trust when used accurately, for it is an essential tool for effective and responsive political leadership in the digital age. So with the help of ICT, government doesn't have to feel so distant anymore, since citizens can voice opinions, give feedback, and stay updated on what's happening, all from their phones or computers. It's a both win-win sides po, both sides, since the government becomes more accountable and citizens become more involved. Okay, so what's in it for us? Ano po ba yung mga benefits na makukuha natin sa e-governance? So number one, the enhanced security. Since cybersecurity is a big deal, with proper systems in place, sensitive data is better protected from leaks and misuse. For the efficiency and simplicity, no more endless queues or thick folders of paperworks, just quick clicks and clear processes. Sa transparency and accountability naman, people can now track where their taxes go or how a project is progressing. It keeps things honest. For the easy maintenance and instant access, imagine pwede na natin pull up yung mga health records natin or business permits in seconds instead of days. In the wider governance reach, even citizens in far-flung areas can connect with the government online. So distance here is no longer a barrier. For the cost-effective and improved services, digital services cut costs on both ends, less paper, less manpower, and better results. But of course, in every technology related, e-governance comes with both advantages and challenges. So for the meron po siyang pros and cons. For the pros po, this boosts government productivity and helps deliver services faster and smarter. In the digital records and transactions, these make things more transparent and often cheaper too. For the citizens, they can easily reach out, report problems, and feel more connected with the people in power. And overall, it plays a huge role in countries' development, especially for those still building up their systems. Pero not everyone has stable internet. So, bale, ito yung mga cons niya or access to devices na nagkakreate ng digital divide. There's also the risk of fake news, misinformation, or worse, data manipulation. And let's be real po, not every digital platform is free of political biases or hidden intentions. So meron po talagang potential for hidden government agendas. That's why po, for e-governance to really work at the local level, it is very important to focus on inclusivity. That means building strong infrastructure like reliable internet in rural areas and helping people develop digital literacy so that everyone should benefit from tech, not just the privileged fews. For the function of local governance, local government plays a vital role in protecting our communities sa interest po ng people and preserving our way of life. But how do they do that in a digital age? So let's see how technology supports their mission. So bale, let's take a closer look at the Bureau of Local Government Development or the BLGD. Ito po under siya sa DILG. Bale, ang role po nila is to strengthen local governance. They focus on boosting the technical, financial, and administrative capabilities of local government units to help them serve communities better. And isa po sa mga naging major projects nila is etong ILOG or the Improving Local Operations through E-Governance. Formerly, ito po yung tinawag nilang CLAS or the Computerization of Administrative Systems. Bale, itong mga initiative na to, nag-push for data-driven decision-making and smarter service delivery through IT. So essentially, yung goal po nila dito is to empower yung ating mga LGUs by giving them tools and support din mga needs po nila sa pag-manage ng mga data better and improve how they run things on the ground. So napaka-essential po nito. Bale, samples po nito ng mga BLGD, sa Quezon City, meron po silang e-services. Bale, online access to services like tax payments and business permits, improving efficiency and transparency. Then meron po silang LGPMS or the Local Governance Performance Management System, a tool to assess and track the performance of LGUs in key governance areas. For ilog examples naman po, let's say sa Makati, meron silang business permit and licensing system na kung saan kinakat nila yung processing time and nagre-reduce ng mga queues po. In Taguig naman, they do have this digital health system na nag-aalaw sa mga citizens to access health records and schedule appointments online, making healthcare more efficient. So these initiatives show how BLGD and ELOG are helping our LGUs to enhance services and governance using the technology. So for the key e-governance projects, we have the Enhancing Local Management Project. Ang purpose po nito is to improve delivery of basic services through information technology. Then we also have the LTPMP or the Legislative Tracking and Performance Monitoring Project na nag-modernize ng Sangguniang Council's operations through information technology. Then the last one, we have the Enhancing Local Revenue Generating Project na naging core objective is to improve LGU capacity to generate local revenue through IT-based solutions. So these benefits po, nag-illustrate how the projects contribute to a more sustainable, efficient, and responsive local government, positively impacting the overall development and prosperity of the community. For the e-governance, improved services and transparency, here are some best practices naman to ensure effective, inclusive, and sustainable systems. So the key strategies like needs assessments, citizen digital training, secure infrastructure, and public-private partnerships ensure effective and inclusive solutions. With pilot testing naman, continuous evaluation, and sustainability planning, these practices create a more efficient, transparent, and people-focused e-governance system. By following these best practices, our local government can really upgrade the delivery of services and make a real impact. In the strengthening LGU capacity for e-governance means empowering teams with the right skills, creating dedicated eGov units, and driving innovation through collaboration and public-private partnerships. So it's all about solid digital infrastructure, smart data governance, and making sure citizens are actively engaged. So with a clear roadmap, open source tools, and top-notch project management, the process stays on track while constant monitoring ensures things are always getting better. Let's proceed with the collaborative governance and interagency coordination. This improves service delivery by enabling agencies to work together, combining expertise for better solutions. This approach increases efficiency, reduces cost by optimizing resources, and fosters innovation. It also enhances public trust through transparency and accountability in government actions. Pero before time starts sa any collaboration, it is important for us to lay a strong foundation by focusing on effective teamwork and communication. So here are key strategies to ensure successful partnerships. Number one, we need to have a clear communication and goals to establish shared objectives and communication channels. Then we have the leadership commitment. Government officials must champion collaboration. Memorandum of Understanding, which defines goals and expectations. Then the data sharing protocols to protect data privacy while enabling interagency cooperation. Joint projects and training to foster teamwork through cross-agency programs, and the evaluation and inclusivity, which regular assessment and involvement of civil society. So when it comes to cybersecurity and data privacy in e-governance, we have these key threats. And these are the malware or the harmful software like viruses and ransomware, phishing, deceptive messages to steal info, the DDoS attacks, which overloads systems with traffic, insider threats, misuse of access by authorized users. Then we also have the APTs, the zero-day vulnerabilities, ransomware, MITM attacks, credential stuffing, IoT vulnerables, and sample po natin is hackers taking control of poorly secured smart cameras or thermostats in a home, using them for surveillance or botnet attacks. So these are real world examples of each cybersecurity threat, emphasizing their potential impacts. So to protect the data, here are some of the best practices to create a proactive and resilient security framework to sustain business continuity and secure public trust in digital systems. So ito po yung ating mga best practices like to update our softwares regularly. We need to use strong passwords and MFA or the multi-factor authentication. We need to train staff on cybersecurity, yung pag-backup po ng mga data natin frequently, pag-install ng mga firewalls, IDS, and anti-malware. We also need to restrict access to sensitive information. Then we need to do the auditing of the security regularly, and we need to have an incident response plan. To keep our government systems and citizen data safe, it takes more than just passwords. It needs a full-on strategic approach, and here are some of the key moves to make that happen. So number one, we need to have a cybersecurity policy to establish a clear guidelines and protocols for protecting government systems and sensitive data. Then for the network security, we need the use of strong firewalls and intrusion detection system or the IDS nga po to monitor and defend against threats. For the data encryption, encrypt data both in transit, while being transferred, and while being stored. For the regular updates naman po, we need to keep all systems and software patch to fix vulnerabilities and prevent exploit. Then yun nga po sa multi-factor authentication, we need to add extra layers for the security by requiring 2 or more verification methods sa pag-login. Then yun nga po the employees training po ng mga employees, access control, incident response to maintain and routinely update incident response plans to react quickly to security breaches. Then yun nga pong security audits, secure mobile devices, and the cloud security. But we need to partner only po with the trusted and secured cloud service providers that follow best practices. Then for the data privacy compliance, which adheres to laws such as the Data Privacy Act of 2012 to ensure the data protection of all the personal information. Then for the public awareness naman po, run awareness campaigns to help citizens understand how to protect their personal data. And for the collaboration, work with the private sector and cybersecurity experts to strengthen national defense against cyber threats. So for the e-governance to work, we need to feel confident that our personal information is safe. If citizens don't trust the system, bale hindi nila gagamitin yon. So that's why data privacy is not just a technical issue, it's a matter of public trust. So how do we build that trust? Let's take a look at the key measures that make it possible. So to encourage our citizens to be engaged in an e-governance, governments must prioritize data privacy. The key measures here are the data protection policies to clearly define data collection, storage, and usage guidelines. Then we have the compliance with laws to ensure adherence to legal frameworks. Minimize data collection, only collect necessary data to reduce risk. Then we have secure data sharing to implement encryption and controlled access. For the transparent communication, we need to inform the citizens about data use and privacy safeguards. Then lastly, for the public awareness campaigns, we need to educate the public on cybersecurity and data protection. So while challenges like the digital divide and cybersecurity threats still exist, the solution lies in collaboration, using the right tools, approaches, and mindset. With this in place, we can create a more responsive, inclusive, and sustainable future for our country. In conclusion, e-governance helps the local government connect with people more effectively through the use of technology to simplify services, facilitate data-driven decision-making, and improve people's participation and involvement. Through these challenges like digital gaps, cybersecurity, collaboration using proper tools, approaches, and proper mindset nga po can create a more responsive, inclusive, and sustainable future nga po for our country. In the end, e-governance is more than just about technology. It's about building a future where every citizen has a voice and a place in the digital government. So that's all for my report po. Thank you.
Okay, so e-governance or electronic governance, of course, refers to the use of information and communication technologies by government agencies to deliver services, shared information, and communicate with the public. No, so the post or the pros of e-governance include faster service delivery, no, reduce corruption, and improve transparency. Uh, However, no challenges such as digital divide, sabi nga ni Sir, data privacy issues and resistance to change also exist. No, for instance, no, a city government offering online permits can reduce long lines and waiting lines, but citizens without internet access may be left behind. No? At the heart of local governance is the delivery of the basic services like health education, uh, track real data, no, and respond faster to community needs. Take the example of Valenzuela City in the Philippines, no, which implemented an online portal for business permits. Now, the city not only reduced processing time, but also increased revenue due to improved compliance and ease of use. Actually, marami naman ng local government na nag-implement nito, no? So, implementing e-governance requires best practices such as leadership commitment, no, adequate ICT infrastructure, and capacity building. In rural LGUs, no, introducing simple system like SMS-based reporting for barangay health workers, lahat ng Bacolod wala nakita. Okay. These practices show that e-governance is not one size fits all. No? It must be contextually adapted based on available resources and community needs. Strengthening LGU capacity means that training people, not just putting up systems. No? It's about making sure that municipal employees and local officials understand how to use the technology and see its value. Imagine a small LGU, no, investing in a cloud-based record system for land titling. No? If staff are not trained, the system becomes a costly storage unit instead of transformative tool. Thus, capacity building includes technical training, user orientation, and sustained support. No? Kasi collaboration among agencies, no, plays a key role, no? When LGU share data and coordinate with national government agencies like DSWD or DOH, they can offer more integrated services. Let's say, for example, no, synchronizing vaccination records last time, no, between local health offices and National Health Department ensures that no one is missed in the public health campaign, especially during time like COVID-19 pandemic. Sabi nga ni Sir, no, cybersecurity and data privacy are critical components right now, no? Because citizens need to feel confident that their information is safe. And one alarming example involved of local database breach that exposed voter registration details leading to identity theft. No? Such incidents highlight why LGUs must adapt strong cybersecurity measures, meron na silang firewalls, may encryption, at meron na ngayon regular audits to safeguard data and build trust. No? So, to protect government system, no, LGU should implement strict protocols for system access and train their staff on data privacy laws like the Philippine Data Privacy Act of 2012. Because let's say, for example, no, when deploying a mobile app for disaster response, privacy setting must be secure to avoid leaking personal information of evacuees. No? Trust is a major currency in e-governance. When citizens trust digital platforms, they are more likely to use them because LGUs can build this trust through transparency, like showing the status of application online, clear policy, privacy policies, no? and responsive customer service. A good case is Marikina City, no, which provides a real-time flood monitoring updates via mobile app, trusted by residents due to its accuracy and openness. So sabi ni Sir, e-governance and LGU is a journey, not a time project. Di ba ba? Because, again, sabi nga nila, it involves continuous learning, collaboration, and innovation. Well, there are challenges. Syempre, potential to improve governance, empower our communities, and uplift lives through technology is immense. No? The goal is not just to digitize government, but to make governance more inclusive, transparent, and citizen-centered. So thank you so much to our presenter and good afternoon. Ay, good evening pala.
Good
Good
evening
evening
po.
na agad. Okay, next presenter.